Hello there. Today I'm going to tie a sand eel, and I'm going to tie it on a tube because that makes a lot of sense. The tube I'm going to use is, and the tube I use for all my tube flies is the Pro tube fly system. The Pro tube fly system is a very diverse and very nice tube fly system because it has a very wide range of different discs and tubes and stuff like that. On this Pro nano tube, I'm gonna put a Pro flexi weight in 10 millimeters in silver, and this is gonna be the body of the fly. This has two profound effects. One of them is to give the fly some weight, and the other is your whole body is made up for you right now. Why this is good on a tube fly, this pattern, is because when I put a small silicone tube back here, I can take the hook I will use, and then it's actually moved quite far back into the wing. This is very good because if a sea trout for some reason doesn't take this fly aggressively, there's still a good chance when the hook is all the way into the back of the wing that even if it's just nibbling at the fly, it will get hooked anyway. Good. What we will be using today is some white bucktail, some crystal flash in green, olive, some saddle feathers in very light pink, and some saddle feathers in olive. And I'm gonna demonstrate this fly both with a Pro soft head and with some clear Q goo, UV curing glue. Okay, first up is to tie an underwing of bucktail. Bucktail is a very nice material because it is a little stiff, but still looks very lively in the water, and it's a very good material for saltwater flies in general. I enjoy using bucktail very much. This, as you can see, has quite different lengths of the hairs, so I'm gonna take these and make these a bit more uniform. I'm gonna take the longest of them and put them further down, so that eventually, when I've done this trick a couple of times, my wing will be a bit more uniform than when I started. I don't want it to be completely the same length, all of them, but I want it to be at least a bit more uniform, a bit more even in length, like that. I'm gonna apply this, I'm gonna tie this bucktail so that I'm gonna put it so that it's lying all around my tube, and then I'm gonna use 3 or 4 very loose turns of the tying thread, like that, and then I'm gonna apply more and more pressure as I go back. This will have the effect that the bucktail fibers will not spread out, but lie as I want them to, completely surrounding the tube, like that. Then I'm gonna cut all of this off, like this, and also on the underside, like this. This fly is, in my opinion, the ultimate way of making a sand eel. It looks very cool in the water. It fishes very well. It casts pretty good, and because of the profile of the fly, you can fish it at the pace of which this should be fished. I mean, this is a type of a type of fish that in its normal environment actually is quite a good swimmer. So it swims fast, especially if it has a sea trout on its tail. So put your rod under your arm and just pull it in like the devil was on your heels, or like a sea trout was on your sand eel's heels. Good. I'm gonna take 5 or 6 strands of flash now. This olive crystal flash is a pretty neat material, has a nice glow to it, and is also nice and alive in the water. Make sure that the strands are not even in length, and then tie this in, not in one big heap, one big bundle, but make sure it's spread out across the top surface of your tube, like that. Use 2 or 3 turns of thread, and then cut it in different lengths again, like this, and then turn it around. So you will end up with 10 strands or something like that. Okay, now we're ready to apply the saddle feathers. The major problem with this pattern is that saddle feathers are quite difficult to come by. For some reason, these past few years, the American women has found it the pinnacle of fashion to put these feathers in their hair. This is quite annoying because that has made the price go up quite a lot on these feathers, and also made the availability of these feathers quite scarce. So I'm doing all that I can to keep a good stock of good quality flatwing feathers in my shop. So swing by and see what I have, because I am doing my absolute best, and I get some from time to time, but I can't guarantee that I will have them in stock always, and when I get them, they are gone pretty fast. So, well, I take some of these feathers, and to save feathers, because to save the amount of feathers you use, you can use, of course, the tip of the feathers, but you can also use, because a feather like this is fairly long, you can also use the whole feather. I'm going to show you this. And you tie these feathers in one at a time. I'm going to tie in one. And then you can see this is cut off, so I don't have the tip anymore. And this does not look very good. So what I do is I take my scissors and then I cut it very carefully, so that it actually tapers, so that it looks like it is the tip of the feather. It is not, but it looks like it's the tip of the feather, and that is sufficient for this fly. This way you can actually get 3 or 4 pieces of feather on one fly, and instead of using just the tips and using 3 or 4 feathers on a single fly. I'm doing this again, cutting it with my scissors so that it looks like it is the tip of the feather, like that. All these feathers, I'm tying them in so that the blank side of the feather, the side that is turned up on the saddle, is turned into the wing. This means that the feathers will stand out a bit from the fly and give the fly more living a more alive movement in the water. Taking 4 or 5 of these in this very light, nearly white pink color. Though if you can get them in white, that is of course the best. But so far I have not been able to. When I get a shipment of these, they are gone so fast that I don't dare to keep any of the whites for myself, unfortunately. 3 or 4 of these 4 I have now. I'm gonna put in 1 more, I think, and that is gonna be on your side, right there, like that. Just gonna turn this for a second so I can cut this correctly off, like that. And then I'm gonna take the olive saddle feathers. If you can't get olive, then olive grizzly is also very cool for this pattern. Gonna find 3 or 4 in olive that matches my need. 1, 2, 3, 4. And these I'm gonna tie in exactly the same way as I did with the light pink ones, on top, like that. That was 1. And another one. all these hackle feathers will move in the water all individually, which will make this fly very, very lively and makes it very irresistible for a sea trout. Like that. And then the last one. Then I'm gonna make a whip finish. Like that. And cut off the tying thread. Okay. Now you can do one of two things. The easiest is just to apply a soft head in size X small. On this soft head, I have prepared it by dropping in a small amount of super glue and then applied the eye. Or you can do it the way I prefer on this fly. You can use some clear cure goo, UV curing glue. This is what I'm gonna do. The UV curing glue is quite an outstanding product. It's very easy to work with, and you can get some excellent results very easily, fairly easily. I'm gonna apply a very small amount first to make sure I get my eyes placed in the right spots. You can see that there is some glue stuck inside my outer tube here, so I'm gonna apply a new one like that. Whoopsie daisy. I'm just applying a very small amount on both sides of what is going to be my head here, to have something to bind to my eyes. I'm gonna take two 3D eyes. This, I'm sorry for if you can't see this, but you will see this in a second when the eyes are on there. One on your side and of course one facing me. Like that. Yes, that is exactly where I want it. There and there. Okay, then I'm gonna turn on my UV light, my UV curing light, like that. And now my eyes are in the exact position where I want them. Then I'm gonna apply a bit more of glue. And one of the very neat things about this UV light is that you can apply a small amount of it in stages. So you're sure your head is gonna look exactly what you like it to be looking like, because every time you have done something that is correct, you just add a bit of light and then it stays there. This is a very cool feature, and the UV curing glue is just an immensely improvement compared to epoxy. Also, the UV, the glue I'm using here, the UV glue is non-toxic, which is also some very good news, and also quite an improvement from epoxy that is quite dangerous for you to use. So what I'm doing now is basically just small steps at a time to build my head exactly the way I want it to be. Like that. Add a bit more glue. Exactly the amount, exactly where I want it. Shine the light. And it sticks. Oops. The only problem with this glue is that it sometimes has a slightly greasy surface after you've done. This you can rectify in two ways. You can either just take a little time and let this let your flies stand out in expose them to direct sunlight. Which will make this sticky surface completely gone, or you can take some alcohol, some household alcohol, and put it on a cloth and then wipe your fly head over with this alcohol. This will make this sticky surface go away. Am I satisfied with this head now? I think I am. Just gonna give it a good old turn with the UV curing light. Like that. And then my fly is done. Small flatwing sandeel that outfishes every other sandeel pattern I have ever encountered. It's just, yeah, you gotta see it for yourself in the water. It's just amazing. It really is. Well, those were the words. Thank you very much for listening.